All right, so, everybody wants a bigger chest, right? I mean, I think it's one of those things that we've all thought about, how to get that,
Mm-hmm.
It's a really impressive chest.
For sure.
And, I've definitely tried some questionable techniques over the years, but you are in luck because today we're going to do a deep dive into the science of building a bigger chest.
That's right.
And we're going to uncover some surprising insights along the way.
Looking forward to it.
So we're going to be using the research from two leading fitness experts, Jeremy Ethier and Jeff Nippard.
Yeah, two of the best.
And in particular, Jeremy Ethier's article, Best Chest Compound Exercises.
Great article.
And we're also going to be pulling in some research that Jeff Nippard did in Fitness Vault. It was about biceps ranking, but as we'll see, it actually has some really interesting implications for chest training.
Yeah, it applies across the board.
And, Ethier and Nippard are both really known for their evidence-based approach to fitness, so you can be confident that the information we're sharing today is backed by solid science.
Solid science.
And I guess I'll just give you a little teaser about what's to come. We're going to uncover a finding that there might be an exercise even better than the classic barbell bench press for building a truly impressive chest.
I'm intrigued.
So it's not just about lifting heavy.
Yeah.
It's about lifting smart.
It's about lifting smart. Yeah. Absolutely. It's all about maximizing that muscle activation to really get the most out of your workouts.
Okay, so why are compound exercises so important? Ethier does a really good job in his article of explaining this by breaking down compound versus isolation exercises.
Yeah.
And a good example he gives is, comparing the bench press, which is a classic compound movement, to something like a pec deck fly.
Right.
Which is a real isolation.
Yeah, it just isolates the chest.
Yeah.
So what's great about compound exercises is that they're engaging multiple muscle groups and joints at the same time. So it's kind of like a multitasking workout, which is great for efficiency.
Right.
Especially for those who are busy trying to make the most of their time at the gym.
Right. You get more bang for your buck.
Exactly. More bang for your buck. And plus, these compound movements, they mimic real life movements.
Yeah.
So you're building functional strength as well.
Yeah.
Which can come in handy.
Absolutely. Imagine you need to push something heavy out of the way.
For sure.
Yeah.
You never know when you might need to do that.
Okay, so before we get into the exercises, let's talk about anatomy of the chest.
Okay.
Ethier points out that the chest is divided into three main regions.
Right.
Upper, middle, and lower. And so really understanding the fiber direction in each of these regions is key. Choosing the right exercises that target them effectively.
Think about it like lines on a map. Those muscle fibers? All lines on a map.
I like that.
They guide the movement.
Yeah.
And ensure that you're working those muscles
Yeah.
from the right angles.
It's like each exercise is a journey along those muscle fiber lines. So let's talk about the upper chest.
Okay.
Ethier really highlights the incline dumbbell press as a top performer for activating those upper chest muscles. And here's a surprise.
Okay.
His EMG studies showed that it actually outperforms even the flat bench press in terms of upper chest activation.
That's fascinating.
Even though the flat bench is, considered the classic chest exercise, the incline dumbbell press might be the real MVP for building a truly impressive upper chest.
I like that. And there's a good reason for this anatomically. When you raise your arms upward during that incline press, the movement aligns perfectly with the fiber direction of those upper chest muscles. Those fibers are running upward and outward, and the incline press works them perfectly.
And to get the most out of the incline press, Ethier recommends an incline of 15 to 30 degrees on the bench. Right. So not too steep, not too flat.
Yeah, just right.
This idea of matching the angle of the exercise to the fiber direction isn't limited to compound movements.
Okay.
Jeff Nippard actually did some research on biceps exercises, and this is where things get really exciting.
Ooh, tell me more.
For chest training. What he found was that by slightly altering the angle of a biceps curl, you can dramatically shift the emphasis to different parts of the biceps muscle.
Right.
So, for example, a slightly more inclined curl would target the longer head of the biceps, whereas a more declined curl would emphasize the shorter head.
Okay, so you're saying we can apply this same principle to chest exercises,
Yes.
even isolation exercises like the pec deck fly.
Nippard actually found that. The seated cable fly, an isolation exercise, beat out all the compound movements for middle and lower chest activation. One performed with a slight downward angle.
That's huge.
So, even though we typically think of compound exercises as being superior for muscle growth, this finding suggests that isolation exercises can be just as effective, if not more effective, depending on the angle.
Interesting.
It all comes back to understanding that muscle fiber direction and matching the exercise to that direction.
I love that.
So we've covered the importance of the incline dumbbell press for the upper chest and the surprising effectiveness of the seated cable fly, even over compound movements for the middle and lower chest. What's next?
Well, we can't talk about chest training without mentioning the flat dumbbell press.
A classic.
Right, it's classic for a reason. But we're going to go beyond just the basics and look at how to really fine-tune the form, to really maximize those middle chest gains.
I'm ready to fine-tune my flat dumbbell press.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're back, and we are in the midst of our chest-building deep dive. We've already uncovered some pretty interesting stuff, like the fact that the incline dumbbell press is really the king for upper chest activation.
Right.
And the seated cable fly can actually beat out compound movements for middle and lower chest engagement, if you pay attention, to angle and fiber direction.
For sure.
Now we're going to look at the flat dumbbell press, which is a classic chest exercise.
It's a classic.
And we're going to go beyond the basics and see how to really
let's do it.
Fine-tune your form to maximize those middle chest gains.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Are you ready to fine-tune your technique?
I am. One common mistake I see people make with the flat dumbbell press is they let the dumbbells drift too far out to the sides as they lower them.
Oh, yeah.
It almost turns into like a fly rather than a press.
I've definitely caught myself doing that.
I know.
It feels like it's easier to lower the weight that way.
Right.
But I guess it's not,
optimal.
Really targeting the middle chest.
Yeah, you want to keep those dumbbells relatively close together.
Okay.
Maintaining that vertical forearm position.
Right.
We talked about earlier.
And movement should be more like a controlled arc.
Right.
Rather than like a wide sweeping motion.
Exactly.
So it's about that controlled movement and really focusing on squeezing the chest muscles at the top.
Yeah, squeeze at the top.
Almost like you're trying to bring your hands together.
I like that analogy. Let's talk about the slight decline dumbbell press.
Okay.
This one can be a bit tricky because you're at that downward angle. So it can be tempting to let gravity do the work.
I can see that
happening. But the key here is to maintain control of those dumbbells throughout the entire movement. Don't let them pull you down too quickly.
Right.
And resist the urge to use momentum.
Okay. So you got to use those chest muscles to control the lowering and lifting phases.
Exactly.
Even though it's a decline press.
Yeah.
We're still primarily aiming for those middle chest fibers.
You got it. Now, we can't talk about chest training without mentioning the king of all chest exercises, the barbell bench press.
It's a classic.
It is a classic for a reason.
I do think it's a little intimidating sometimes. You see people loading up the bar with massive weights.
It could be more about ego than effective training.
Yeah, it feels like ego lifting sometimes.
But it's tempting to go heavy. But remember, proper form is crucial.
Yes.
Both for safety and for actually targeting those chest muscles effectively.
Right.
So let's break down some key points to keep in mind.
I'm all ears.
When you're doing the barbell bench press. First, make sure your feet are firmly planted on the floor.
Okay.
Providing that stable base.
So it's not just an upper body exercise.
A full body exercise. You know, you're engaging your entire body, even your legs.
Okay.
And then next, pay attention to your grip. It should be neutral, with your wrists aligned with your forearms. You'll see some people with their wrists bent at all sorts of weird angles. But that's a recipe for wrist pain.
Okay.
Now, as you lower that bar, keep those elbows tucked in.
Okay.
Just like we talked about with the dumbbell presses.
Right.
A good range to aim for is about 45 to 80 degrees. And make sure you're bringing that bar down to your lower chest.
Okay.
Just below your nipples.
Not too high, not too low.
Right. And you press that bar back up. Don't lock out your elbows at the top.
Okay.
Maintain a slight bend. To protect those joints.
Right.
And keep tension on those chest muscles.
It's so much to think about. But, you know, being mindful and really ensuring each rep is perfect form.
Yeah, no ego lifting.
Yeah.
Now let's switch gears and talk about chest dips.
Yeah.
You mentioned you sometimes feel these more in your shoulders.
Yeah, my front delts always want to take over.
Well, here's a tip that might help.
Lean forward.
Lean forward as you do the dips.
Yeah, as you perform the dip.
I always thought you were supposed to be upright.
That's a common misconception. If you stay too upright,
yeah,
your shoulders will naturally take over,
okay,
which is probably why you're feeling it there. So by leaning forward, you're shifting that emphasis to your chest muscles. Interesting. So it should be more of an angled position.
Exactly.
Okay.
And as you lower yourself down,
yeah,
focus on spreading your chest apart, almost like you're trying to touch your collarbones together.
Okay.
This will help you really engage those pecs.
I'm going to have to try that next time I'm at the gym.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Now everybody's anatomy is different. So
Yeah.
you want to experiment and find what feels best for you.
For sure. Now, we've talked about some of these main lifts.
Yeah.
What about those who are new to weight training?
Yeah.
What advice do we have for beginners who might not be ready for these big compound movements? Well, Jeremy Ethier actually recommends starting with machine-based exercises.
Okay.
These are a great way to build some strength and get familiar with proper form.
Right. It's a good foundation.
Before moving on to those free weights.
And there are some really good machine-based exercises that mimic the movements of those free weight exercises.
Like the incline machine press, for example.
It's like the incline dumbbell press, but it's on the machine.
Right. And it provides that guided movement path,
Yeah.
which can be really helpful for beginners.
And then for the lower chest, assisted chest dips are a great option.
Sure.
You know, you can perform the movement with support and gradually build up that strength and confidence.
So there are options for everyone, regardless of experience level.
I like that.
And don't forget about body weight exercises.
Oh, yeah.
Like push-ups.
Good old-fashioned push-ups.
Right. They're fantastic for building chest strength.
You don't even need equipment.
No equipment required.
And you can modify push-ups to target different areas of the chest by adjusting your hand placement, for example. A wider grip will emphasize the outer chest muscles, whereas a narrower grip will focus more on the inner chest.
And if you want to challenge that upper chest,
Yeah.
try decline push-ups.
Okay.
Now, even though it's a bodyweight exercise,
Right.
proper form is still crucial for push-ups.
So we got to make sure those chest muscles are doing the work.
Exactly.
You know, engage that core. Keep your body in a straight line. Lower yourself down with control.
Right.
No sagging hips or rounding your back.
You got it. We've talked a lot about form, but there's another key aspect of chest training we need to address, and that's progression.
Oh, progression. The key to continuous growth.
Exactly.
We can't just keep doing the same weights and reps.
Got to keep those muscles guessing.
Week after week.
As you get stronger, you need to challenge those muscles to keep them growing.
And we can do that by increasing the weight, the reps or the sets. It's important to do it gradually, though.
For sure.
I've been guilty of trying to progress too quickly.
I think we all have.
And I end up injuring myself.
Listen to your body and make sure you're not pushing yourself too hard too soon.
Yeah.
Rest and recovery
Yeah.
is just as important as the workouts themselves.
Finding that balance between pushing yourself and knowing when to back off. And another important aspect of progression is variety.
Variety is key.
I love variety.
It keeps things interesting.
Yeah.
And it helps to prevent those plateaus.
So instead of doing the same chest routine week after week, we should be mixing things up.
Yeah.
Keep our muscles guessing.
Keep those muscles guessing.
Now, speaking of adaptation, we can't forget about nutrition.
Yeah.
What should our listeners be focusing on when it comes to nutrition?
Well, the building blocks of muscle is protein.
So you want to make sure you're getting enough protein in your diet.
A good rule of thumb
Yeah.
is to aim for about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day.
Okay, so if I weigh 150 pounds, I should aim for 150 grams
Exactly.
a day.
And don't forget about healthy fats.
Okay.
They play a crucial role in hormone production, which is essential for muscle growth.
So avocados,
Yeah.
nuts,
Yeah.
olive oil,
And don't neglect carbohydrates.
Okay.
They're essential for energy
which you need.
to power through
Yeah.
those intense workouts.
So brown rice.
Sweet potatoes rather than sugary drinks and processed food.
Exactly.
And, of course, stay hydrated.
Just hydrated.
Water is essential for countless
right.
bodily functions, including muscle recovery. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day,
yes.
especially before, during, and after your workouts.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about effective exercises, proper form, progressive overload, variety, and nutrition.
What's the final takeaway for our listeners who are eager to build a bigger chest?
You know, building a bigger chest is a journey, not a destination.
I like that.
It's about consistency, dedication, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
Be patient, be consistent, and enjoy the process.
Exactly.
It's not about quick fixes or magic solutions. It's about putting in the work, making smart choices, and staying focused on your goals.
You got it.
And there's no one-size-fits-all approach to building.
Yeah.
A bigger chest. What works for one person might not work for another.
Yeah.
So be willing to experiment.
Yeah. Find what feels best for your body.
For sure.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
We're all in this together.
Now, there's one more crucial element of chest training we need to explore.
Okay.
And that's the mind-muscle connection.
All right. The mind-muscle connection.
We've talked about how to work those chest muscles, but now we need to really tap into the power of the mind to truly maximize our results. So we'll get into that when we come back. Okay, so welcome back to our chest building deep dive. We've explored the science of muscle activation, the best compound exercises for chest growth, the nuances of proper form, the importance of progression and variety, and the role of nutrition. Now it's time to unravel the mystery of the mind-muscle connection.
The mind-muscle connection, we've talked about how to work those chest muscles, but now we need to really tap into the power of the mind.
Okay. To truly maximize our results.
That's right.
So what exactly is the mind-muscle connection, and why is it so important when it comes to building a bigger chest?
It's all about being present and aware during your workout.
Okay.
So instead of just going through the motions, you're consciously focusing on the muscle you're targeting.
Right. Feeling it contract.
Yeah, feeling it contract and expand with each rep.
So it's about bringing a heightened level of awareness
to the
workout.
And it can be a game changer.
Yeah.
Especially for chest training.
Okay.
The chest muscles can be notoriously tricky to isolate.
Yeah.
Particularly for beginners.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to let other muscle groups, like the shoulders and triceps, take over. But when you develop that mind-muscle connection, you can really zero in on those pecs.
Right.
And make sure they're doing the work.
So how do we strengthen that mind-muscle connection?
Great question. One of the most effective techniques is visualization.
Okay.
So imagine those muscle fibers contracting and expanding with each rep.
Okay.
You know, picture those pecs working hard
to
lift the weight.
So if I'm doing a bench press, I should be visualizing my chest muscles squeezing together as I push the bar up.
Exactly. And stretching as I lower it down.
And not just focusing on the visual aspect, but really paying attention to those sensations.
Yeah, feel that tension, feel the burn, feel that activation. The more you can tune into those sensations, the stronger that mind-muscle connection will become.
It's like you're taking an active role in directing the workout.
You're telling those muscles what to do.
Now, another tip is to slow down your reps.
Slow down those reps. When you rush through your exercises,
I know I'm guilty of that.
It's easy to rely on momentum.
It feels like I'm swinging the weights around rather than making the muscles work.
Right, and that can actually reduce muscle activation.
Yeah.
But when you slow down, you force those muscles to work harder.
Yeah.
And that intensifies that mind-muscle connection. So focus on both the eccentric and concentric phases of the movement.
Okay. Control the weight on the way down and control it on the way up.
Exactly. It's not just about how much weight you lift, it's how you lift it.
Yeah.
Now, another technique you might find helpful is pre-activation.
Pre-activation.
It's basically warming up the target muscle with a lighter exercise before you move on to your main compound movement. So for chest, you might do a few sets of cable flies or push-ups to get those pecs firing before you hit the bench press.
Okay, so it's like priming those muscles.
Exactly. It's priming those muscles, getting them ready. You're up next.
Yes. You're up next. And pre-activation also helps to reduce the risk of injury.
So we got visualization, slowing down our reps, pre-activation. Any other tips?
Yeah, one more. That can be really helpful.
Okay.
Is to squeeze and hold at the peak of contraction.
Oh, yeah. I felt
it's a fantastic way to really maximize that activation. So if you're doing a dumbbell bench press, hold those dumbbells at the top of the movement for a few seconds, really squeezing your chest muscles together.
I like that, really taking a moment to connect with the muscles. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you'll be surprised at the difference it makes. It's all about taking your chest training to that next level by harnessing the power of your mind.
Yeah. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into building a bigger chest. We've gone over everything from anatomy of the chest muscles and the best compound exercises to the nuances of proper form and the importance of progression, variety, nutrition, and the incredible power of the mind-muscle connection.
Absolutely.
I feel like I've learned so much.
It's been a great journey.
And I'm excited to put all this knowledge into practice.
I think you'll see some great results. Remember, building a bigger chest, it's not just about lifting weights. It's about understanding the science, the mechanics, and the mental aspect of training. It's about becoming a student of your own body and learning how to unlock its full potential.
And, enjoying the process.
Enjoy the process. It's not just about the destination.
Yeah.
It's about the journey of getting there.
Yeah.
So to our listeners, we say go forth, armed with knowledge and a newfound appreciation for the art and science of chest training. And build those pecs of your dreams.
Absolutely. And that concludes our deep dive. We hope you found it insightful, informative, and inspiring. Until next time, happy training.